with fourth place Los Angeles. So a big game here for Seattle. Obviously, the importance being in those top 4 spots. You avoid that one-and-done series, or the one-and-done game, rather.
Yeah, and I think for Seattle, they are a team that has played so well defensively throughout the year. The key to climbing into a top 4 spot is that offensive efficiency.
The first day of the season that all teams in the WNBA are playing on the same day. Interesting that took us all the way till late August to get one of those days. We'll have another one on the final day of the season next week. Here's a flip to Candace Dupree. Good ball movement by Indiana that time. Ball tipped around out of bounds. It'll be Seattle basketball. So good execution. Just couldn't get Candace Dupree to knock that down, which she knocks that shot down in her sleep, the 15-foot jumper.
Indiana with a really good possession. They don't get the bucket, but they did everything right. Swung the ball, moved it side to side, and got an open jumper for Dupree.
Russell, I believe Canada thought she was going to roll towards the hoop, and she did not. Turnover on Seattle. Dupree up top to Wheeler to run the show here against Jordan Canada. Quick on quick. Wheeler gets stonewalled, gives it up to Dupree. 7 on the shot clock, far side with it. Dumping it down low. And a good feed to Candace Dupree, and she doesn't miss this one. A nice off-the-ball pass there.
Yeah, double team coming to Tierra McCowan, the rookie out of Mississippi State, and that is sign of maturity right there, finding the open player Dupree with an easy bucket.
2-zip, Indiana. Here's Howard with it. Powers her way up, a little strong off the glass. Rebounded by McCowan. Wheeler spins around Canada, loses handle of the basketball. Good hands there by Mercedes Russell. Here comes Natasha Howard. She can do it all, and she feeds to Jordan Canada, who gets the bump. How about Natasha Howard there? Comes up with the ball, so comfortable, full speed, and then just a nice, soft little dime there.
And it starts with the defense. Once again, Seattle's defense with the turnover and getting out and running. And Natasha Howard at 6'2" is a top 3 candidate for MVP in this league, and she is my front runner for defensive player of the year, leading the league in steals. The havoc that she causes, she can guard a point guard, she can guard a center. She has had a phenomenal season here in 2019.
4th in scoring, 5th in rebounds, only player in the top 5 of both. 2nd in steals, 4th in blocks, and top in defensive win shares, which adds to your point, should be the defensive player of the year. And she, almost on cue there, causes a turnover and a steal, but it will be Indiana basketball. How about Dan Hughes throwing out a little bit of a full court pressure here after the free throws?
Yeah, they will mix things up, just trying to get as much pressure as they possibly can. There is certainly respect for the backcourt of Indiana and how quick they are.
Jordan Canada almost caused the turnover there. Seattle giving Indiana some fits right now. Sue Bird just showed up on the bench and walked through the crowd down and jumped over the top of the bench, and everybody on the Seattle bench getting a kick out of Sue. Just, hey, look who showed up on the bench. And Sue Bird, you can come sit with us if you want.
Be careful.
Exactly.
Causing any hurdle injuries here. Let's go.
Dan Hughes wanted to know what the laughing was about. He looked down. He started laughing too. Here's Alicia Clark with it. Down low, Mercedes Russell. One-on-one on McCowan. 14 on the shot clock. Flips it up with the right hand. Oh, soft touch by Mercedes Russell.
How about the quickness, the power of McCowan at 6'7" and leaning on you. The 2-time National Player of the Year out of Mississippi State had no answer for Mercedes Russell's quickness.
Wheeler around a pick from Dupree. Gives it to Candace now. With it, Mitchell. Switched off by Natasha. Stonewalled her with 5 on the shot clock, forcing a bad pass. McCowan flips it up. That one, no good. And Howard with her first carry. Here's Natasha. She's going to step into a triple and knock it down. Have we seen a little bit of everything from Natasha Howard in the first 2.5 minutes so far?
You better watch out. When Natasha Howard is hitting the 3, she can become unstoppable. And she is so quick and gets into the lane with such ease. If she knocks down the outside jumper, it's lights out.
She's got a beautiful pass, setting up free throws. She's knocked down a 3. She's almost caused a turnover in the backcourt. And we're still got 7:06 left to go in the first quarter. That is why this team needed somebody to step up and be a star without their 2 stars, and then without their 3rd star and Jewel Lloyd being out. And Natasha Howard has filled the bill all season long.
Yeah, what a pickup by Alicia Valvanis, a 2nd-round draft pick sent to Minnesota for Natasha Howard.
Howard for 3. There it is again. and that's exactly what she will do. A 10-0 Seattle run. 6:44 left in the first. Crowd loving it here in Seattle.
Yeah, how about Natasha Howard, who's usually so stoic, doesn't really change expression that often. A big old grin on her face for the timeout.
Hey fans, this season every free throw Storm player makes, Alaska Airlines donates 2,000 miles to the Alaska Airlines for Youth Fund. Currently the Storm are 352 free throws made, bringing the total miles donated to 702,000. Check out storm.WNBA.com/free throws for a future for more information. Dick Payne, Elise Woodward with you here at Alaska Airlines Arena, and the Stars are in the house. The first ever commissioner of the WNBA, no longer president, a commissioner. Kathy Engelbert joining us. She's going to join us at halftime. There's a local legend, Steve Ballmer, of course, the owner of the LA Clippers. And we're talking about Natasha Howard, who just knocked that one away and couldn't save it. You see Megan Rapinoe as well. And Elise, I was talking to Ballmer just a few minutes before the broadcast, and I said, "You haven't been doing making any moves this offseason, have you?" He kind of laughed. He said, "You know, one thing I didn't do." He goes, "I wasn't savvy enough to trade a second-round pick for an MVP candidate."
That's true. How about Kawhi Leonard and talk about stoic? Yeah, you know, compared with Steve Ballmer, a little bit of different personalities between the owner and the star player.
Absolutely, no question. Dupree with the jump shot from the elbow. Watch out for Mitchell. Mitchell was throwing bows down there, and Alicia Clark kind of stood back and looked at the ref and said, "Oh, wait a second, is she allowed to do that?" So let's keep an eye out on Mitchell and Alicia Clark the next couple possessions.
The mismatch with, now they figure it out, get Dupree on Natasha Howard, but...
Oh, the runner by Jewel Lloyd, no good there, but keeping it alive is Mercedes Russell. Over to Clark in the corner, last touched by Alicia. It'll be Indiana basketball.
Alicia Clark with a good hustle play. Diving on the ground, 6 games left in this season, and Alicia Clark, who is just steady. Does everything for her team and doesn't need her name called, doesn't need a play called for, and just is always producing.
Here's Dupree again. That one's off the mark. And Mercedes Russell has it. Cannon on the push. See what she's got. No numbers. And a whistle and a foul on the screen going on Indiana. I did mention an important game for Seattle to keep pace for that 4 spot with Los Angeles, to stay out of that one game, 5 versus 8, 6 versus 9. Now they still would, just to clarify, they still would have to play as the 4 seed a 1-gamer, but they don't have to play 2 1-gamers. They'd stay out of that first one. Foul on Wheeler, that's already her second, so keep an eye on that. Canada with it. Oh, dangerous pass there. Here's Kennedy Burke against Alicia Clark, and Alicia had a lot of basketball there. Boy, oh boy. That looked like a travel followed by a tie-up, and that's exactly what Dan Hughes wants.
Kennedy Burke playing that like a free safety, reading, anticipating, and then getting out. I don't think there's a travel, but I think the official anticipated contact, and it was a swipe clean ball, and that was one that was missed. But Kennedy Burke, when you earn the right to get out in the open floor in a one-on-one situation after the steal, officials have a hard time with that because it is so fast-moving.
But there are certain players in the league, Alicia Clark being one, Natasha Howard being another, that sometimes you got to give them the benefit of the doubt as great defenders on plays like that.
There's no question that Alicia Clark, once a game, you feel like she either strips you or she blocks you from behind, or she does something that a lot of other players don't do, and I think it surprises officials.
Oh, nice jump stop move by Clark. Couldn't get it to go. Trying to keep it alive as Mercedes Russell, as she did a prior possession, and she does at least get the tie-up. How about that move by Clark? The jump stop and then the step through, and couldn't get it to go. But that was a really pretty, look at this.
Yeah, that is old school Middle Tennessee State leading scorer in the nation post move coming out. She's got excellent footwork. And even though she's a guard now and faces the bucket, when she gets in the lane or when she's posting a player on the box that's smaller than her, she is so effective.
So 2 bigs jumping right now, McCowan and Russell. Mike Price to do the honors here. And it's won by Indiana. Midway point of the first quarter here at Alaska Airlines Arena. 10-6 Seattle. They trailed 2-0, then went on a 10-0 run. A brief 4-0 push right now by Indiana. They tried to add to it right now. 8 on the shot clock. Good D by Seattle, forcing them way out. Kick it over the corner. 3 on the shot clock. Tough shot. No good. Oh, but there's McCowan. You play 23 seconds of great D, and you get the offensive rebound putback.
Yeah, the finish of the play never happened. Everything was gorgeous until that rebound.
That's Jewel's shot right there, but misses. Russell's been active so far for Seattle. Howard, she's been very active. That one not going. And then Russell can't get it to go. Boy, Seattle has missed about 3 inside of 3 feet tonight.
And I don't think there's any coincidence that that player right there, McCowan, has been disruptive.
Yeah. Here's the steal. Clark on the 3-on-1. Good bounce pass. Even better defense there by Mitchell. Coming the other way. She doesn't have numbers. She'll circle back around.
And that was pass-like quickness from Mitchell, reading that 3-on-1 situation and to come away with the ball.
Busy hands again. This time, Jewel Lloyd tips it to Alicia Clark, and this one is a miss. It's like every Seattle player's got 3 arms in this game. Mitchell with it. Canada tries to get a piece, and Mitchell scores.
And that time allowing that penetration into the middle of the key, and your help is just not prepared to get there. Excellent drive by Mitchell, right straight line to the hoop.
Seattle's forced 4 turnovers for 7 points off those turnovers. No good there by Lloyd. McGowan gets the rebound, but they must have, if you count deflections and steals, it's got to be 7 or 8 in this first quarter. Pull up jump shot, nothing but net. That was a nice little stop move there.
Oh, she was attacking full speed and just lost for the best defensive guards in the WNBA, and Jordan Canada just stopped on a dime and then nailed that.
Well, look at this run. It was 10-2 Seattle. Now it's 12-12, so answering with a 10-2 run. Boyd driving baseline. Tried to feed it to Russell. Instead, she feeds it right to McGowan. 5th turnover on Seattle. Lloyd struggled so far. 0-3 and has that turnover. Dupree from 18. No. Clark's got it. See if they push. Jewel's out ahead. I don't think Alicia sees her. Now she does. Good catch by Jewel. Bouncing it to Howard. Backing in on Dupree. Tough on tough. And she flips it up. No. Tries to get her own rebound and taps it over to Mercedes Russell, who's been in the right place at the right time a couple times today.
Well, Candace Dupree is undersized, but boy, is she trying to lean on Natasha Howard, and Howard relentless, tipping that over to Russell, who's able to finish.
How about Mercedes' game so far? 4 points, 5 boards in 8 minutes.
This is a good matchup for her. It's sometimes, even though McCowan is bigger and stronger than Russell, it's an easier matchup than those quicks.
And McCowan turns and scores. There's been 4 players waiting to check in for about 3 minutes now. This has been a long run without a stoppage. Clark for 3. Good look. Oh, in and out. My goodness. That was deep.
And you're right. The players are dragging right now. You got to get back and take the ball.
Nothing doing this time. We're running the other way. Jewel's fit. She fakes out McCowan, goes in with the left hand, and there you're right, Elise. You're talking about you don't have to block a shot to be imposing in the middle.
And this right here, you got to keep running. You got to keep running. And you can tell right there that Mitchell, not breathing hard at all, put on the Jets and blew by the Storm defense.
So we don't have a stoppage for 3 minutes, so Dan Hughes forces a stoppage. 1:07 left. He's like, I got to get some reinforcements in this game. A 14-4 run. What have you seen, Elise, from the last 2 minutes from Indiana?
Well, no fouls on either side is what I've seen, and so there was no clock stoppage, and you can tell right now both teams are gassed. It's only the first quarter, but when you're going out, it's like running a 400-meter dash. That's a minute usually to run a 400-meter dash. Well, they just went about 3 minutes of game time, sprinting both ways with 2 teams that love to play up-tempo, and they are right now needing some water and needing to sit down and try to catch their wind. But Indiana is anticipating things and getting out and running, and that was one of the major keys in this game, was Seattle to get back and not allow the easy buckets. Seattle's defense in the half court is so tough to get through and causes so much havoc, but you don't really have the chance to set it up if you're giving up this space in transition.
Mitchell's been tough thus far in this game. 3 of 3, 6 points. He's averaging almost 13. Very good free throw shooter. Great shooter from beyond the arc as well. 58 made 3-pointers, and she has caused some problems for this team. And she started the first 19 games of the season, but now has come in and done a great job off the bench for them. A 4-time All-American and 3-time Big Ten Player of the Year at Ohio State. Indiana 10 points in the paint thus far in this game. A lot of them coming off of transition, those layups like you saw in that video with Mitchell. Only one shot from three-point range. They're 0 of 1. Seattle 2 of 4 from 3, 5 of 15 overall. And Natasha Howard leading the Storm with 6 points.
Well, and a cool moment as the crowd settles back into their seat during that timeout, announcing that the Seattle Storm once again back into the postseason, and the crowd erupted, got on their feet, huge cheer for a team that has faced so much adversity with injuries and Dan Hughes beating cancer.
In and out by Whitcomb, who just came back in. The reinforcements are Whitcomb, Langhorne, and Mosqueda Lewis. The only starters staying in are Canada and Natasha for Seattle. Here's Kelsey Mitchell again, her first miss of the ball game for the left team. Oh, Natasha Howard throws it right to... And there races Kennedy! My goodness, it causes the turnover! Defensive Player of the Year in the WNBA. You should just lock it up and give it to Natasha Howard.
And she hit so hard off the bracket, and you can see her kind of hit her head, saying, what was I thinking? Giving nothing up easy, just timing that to perfection. This is what Kennedy Burke at 6'1" in a reach of 6'5". She's going to the rim. And Natasha Howard, her timing is impeccable. And you can see both players, Kennedy Burke still on the ground. Natasha Howard slammed into the padded bracket of the bucket underneath. Oh, gets up right away and says, I never should have gave that ball up in the first place.
So I'll get it back for you guys. We obviously hope Kennedy is all right. Let's see what happened here to Kennedy. I don't know if you can really tell.
You're always worried about the cameras and the fans underneath because there's hard equipment, and when you are flying, and both players were well off the ground, and she's kind of shaking out her arm. You wonder how she landed. Sometimes if you land funny with trying to brace your fall, you can end up causing some pain in your wrists, your shoulders. Hopefully she's okay. The rookie out of UCLA.
We've seen a lot of great defensive plays this year. I think I put that number 1 on my list.
Well, it was Kennedy Burke reading, anticipating Natasha Howard, and then Natasha Howard saying, oh, you think that was good? You just wait. And just the competitiveness of Howard to say, no, you're absolutely not going to get an easy bucket after you steal one from me.
So Seattle, 25 seconds left to go. Burke takes a seat. Storm down 2 here. Langhorne bounces it low right between the wickets. Last shot opportunity for Mitchell. Working on Canada. Checks the clock. High screen from McCowan. Gives it up to Chonwa. Inside. Nice ball movement and a score. That was a brilliant 3-player game right there. And that will do it for the end of the first quarter. So it starts all Seattle. They get up to a 10-2 advantage. But since then, 16-4 for the Fever. Back for the second right after this. Hey, fans of Storm games, the BECU Early Saver Zone. Discounted general admission tickets starting at just $12 for kids, $17 for adults, so the fans can enjoy the game and save some money on tickets. Go to www.stormbasketball.com/early saver for more information or to purchase tickets. Elise going nuts at the competition between Detlef Schrempf and his son Michael. His 22-year-old son Michael in a free throw competition with Sonic legend Detlef Schrempf during that break. Did that win? Is that when I didn't? I was doing the read.
His boy's a Special Olympian, and he was working so hard to make a bucket. It was so close, and it ripped out. I was like, "Come on, Michael, you can do it." Detlef Schrempf, an absolute legend, and it was announced $20 million plus that he's raised for the Seattle community because of his golf tournament. And yeah, once again, just really miss the Sonics.
But the Sonics are still working in this town.
Absolutely.
Like you mentioned with the Detlef Schrempf Foundation.
But yeah, it's good to see Detlef and his son. That was really a nice moment.
Here's Langhorne driving in, strong hand. Now she goes to her weak hand, but still gets it to go. How about that? They stonewall her left hand, and she goes to the right.
You talk about the footwork of Alicia Clark. Well, Crystal Langhorn is the master of footwork at 6'2" underneath.
Mitchell tries to answer no. McCowan over the back, but no call, and she gets it back up and in. Seattle really undersized right now without Mercedes Russell in there.
Yeah, it's 5-inch height advantage for Tiara McCowan against Langhorn. Langhorn had her boxed out, was fundamentally correct, but there's not a lot you can do with 5 inches.
Howard, wow. Just pulls there. And Mitchell's fouled by Sammy Whitcomb on the rebound. Questionable shot by Natasha there, but a little bit of a heat check when you hit a couple of them. You're going to see if you can get that third one down.
She's got 6 points, 2 made 3-point shots, but Seattle's offense has gone ice cold after the initial surge. They got out 10-2. And then have just had 6 more points. It has been a rough stretch for their offensive execution.
Here's Chanwa top side. Feeds over, kick back to Natalie. Tries to step through. Nice D by Crystal Langhorn, staying in front. Laney throws it away. Shavonte Zealous in for the first time for Seattle. Tasha trying to clear some space for it. Mosqueda Lewis catch and shoot. Oh, good.
An unfortunate fast break situation. Could not get the right spacing. Howard and Zealous on the same side of the floor, and unfortunately they don't connect.
Indiana trying to get it into the paint. And they have now 16 points in the paint. Indiana, by the way, 76% of their field goal attempts on the season are 2-point shots. Very, very high. And 60% of their points result from 2-point field goals. Those are both second most in the WNBA, and we're seeing that today. They have 0 points from behind the arc, 2 points from the free throw line, and 20 from 2-point range.
Well, and Tiara McCowan has been an absolute force. Mercedes Russell matched up pretty well with her, but she's close to a double-double, and we still have 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Tiara McCowan with 10 points, 7 boards, and she has been coming on strong. Dan Hughes said it took her a while to get acclimated to the WNBA, but she's absolutely rolling. Averaging over 11 points per game in the last 4 and has moved into the starting lineup, and she is a presence. She is an immovable force down on the box.
It's been a big game for the bigs of both teams. You mentioned McCowan, 10.7 rebounds, and then for Seattle, you've got Russell and Howard combining for 12 points and 7 rebounds.
And it's really neat to see McCowan and how much she's grown. She was here with Mississippi State, and there she is again. A little jump hook over the top. She was here with Mississippi State in a big win over the Huskies in December. And now she is here playing the pro game just a few months later.
Howard spinning, missing wildly. I got to admit, I love this low post game. I love this old school, back you down.
I'll tell you, the WNBA, they have so many outstanding centers and big players. And that is where the best players in this league reside. Yep. Is down on the block with Griner and Cam Beige and all these players. It's just Stewie when she comes back.
Yep.
These centers and power forwards and Sylvia Fowles. The list of MVP candidates as a center and a power forward goes on and on and on and on. Currently in the NBA, it's about the guards.
Right. And the game's much more spread out. Now, we see spread out games sometimes in the WNBA, but when you have a mismatch like McCowan is for Indiana, I mean, Pokey Chapman's doing the exact right thing right now.
McCowan is a player that, with her presence alone at 6'7" and her defensive instinct, you knew that she could dominate on that end of the floor, but I have been really impressed with how much her offensive game and her skills have improved.
So this run now is at 23-8. And this is the biggest lead of the game for Indiana at 7. Mitchell misses that one.
This is where Seattle goes to their bench. All 5 players on the floor right now. subs on the floor. Let's see if they can bring some energy and change this run.
Courtney Paris into the game. Zealous. Nice catch by Mosqueda Lewis. Can't get the shot to go, however. Whitcomb almost sneaks in there and gets the poke free. Dupree missed the first shot of the game from that exact spot, but gets the roll this time.
And you have to be able to score. Seattle in a big-time drought right now, and Dan Hughes wants to talk about it and use the timeout.
Full timeout by Dan Hughes. We'll take a break. It's all Indiana right now. Forget that they're 9-19. They're smoking Seattle by 9. Hey, fans, join us Tuesday, August 27th. Hey, that's only 2 days away. 7 o'clock to watch your Storm take on the Connecticut Sun right here on Carter Subaru Ford at Alaska Airlines Arena in Seattle. Connecticut today losing to Los Angeles 84-72 to fall to 20-9, but a very, very good team. But it's the Fever staying hot against Seattle here, Elise. And Seattle is ice cold. They have made only 3 of their last 19 field goals after making their first 3 of the game.
And when you cannot find the bucket, when all of a sudden you go cold, your defense better be electric at the other end of the floor. And right now, McCowan is just bullying them down low with offensive rebounds and jump hooks over the top. 12 points and 7 boards for the rookie.
Let's see what Dan Hughes dialed up in the timeout here. Whitcomb on the kick out. No good. Harris keeps it alive. Seattle's done that 3 or 4 times today. New set of 14 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Langhorne. Mosqueda Lewis, catch and shoot. No. Good rebound, Sammy Whitcomb. Making Indiana play a lot of defense right now. Langhorne's got a seam. Gets a strip, though. The quick hands of Erica Wheeler. Dupree the other way. Now Mitchell got a great look at the 3 ball. They don't shoot a lot of them, and that looked like it came off the side of her hand. Had some wonky spin on it. Starters coming back in for Seattle. Jewel Lloyd and Alicia Clark to replace Whitcomb. And looks like Whitcomb's going to stay in for a second. Maybe Seattle's a little late getting the players to come in. Dan Hughes has got palms up going, wait a second, what am I missing here?
Dan Hughes has got to be a candidate for Coach of the Year, if not the front runner, with what he has been able to do with this roster. No Stewie, no Sue Bird, missing Jewel Lloyd. Instead, this team is in the playoffs. 15-13 overall. Phenomenal year for the coach.
Whitcomb. Zealous flips it up, no good.
And here we go, out on the run again.
Wheeler into McGowan. Good post position, but you got Courtney Paris in there and Mosqueda Lewis helping out. I think a good move by Hughes, getting Paris in there, because you know McGowan's not going to move her. I mean,
no.
She may shoot over, but she's not going to move Courtney Paris.
Yeah, Courtney Paris is good in certain matchups,
yep.
And this is one of them, where if you want somebody to lean on Sierra McCowan and use their strength and power, McCowan's not going to outquick you, and she's not going to overpower Courtney Paris. So I like that, getting in, testing that, giving some minutes off the bench to rest Howard and Mercedes Russell.
That's physically draining, too, on a big, to always have to lean on somebody that's just as big as you are when she's used to just kind of pushing people around him.
Man, you look at her numbers, 8 points, 8 boards, shooting over 50% from the field. That doesn't really look that impressive, but when you realize that she didn't start until halfway through the season and didn't get a lot of minutes. She had the winning shot in her debut for Indiana as the 3rd overall pick out of Mississippi State. But really, I think Pokey Chapman did a nice job of bringing her along slowly, and she is getting better and better, and now she is one of the best post players in the game, at least the way she's playing right now.
Jewel's got to create, and does, and draws the foul. Nicely done there by Jewel Lloyd. Talking about McCowan, she is averaging over the last 2 months 10 points and 10 rebounds. So she is averaging a double-double for a good chunk of the season. Her overall numbers are 8 and 8. Foul there on Tiffany Mitchell, her first. But she had a career high last week against New York, and she's got the potential to be a very, very good big in this league. Jewell been very good against Indiana, trying to get it going tonight. Those are her first 2 points, 0 for 4 in this game from the field.
Now, sometimes you just need to see the ball go in the hoop, and earning a trip to the free throw line for Jewell Loyd is as automatic as it gets besides Elena Delle Donne in the league.
Cowan inside, there's Natasha Howard again to meet her, but a bump and a foul.
And I think one of the impressive parts of Tiara McCowan's game is she now gets in the lane again to draw free throws, and it was Alicia Clark who reached in and raked her on the wrist. But Natasha Howard would have been there to send that one away. But McCowan, who has 13 points in this game already, along with 8 boards, she's already over her season averages, and we're in the first half. For her, she can make the free throw. You saw there. Excellent form for somebody 6'7". A lot of bigs have trouble with the details, with the soft touch at the foul line. McCowan's a 68% foul shooter, and I think she will improve upon that number throughout her career.
Good hustle by Candice Dupree, keeping it alive. Here's Wheeler against Canada. On the switch, Natasha tries to throw it over the top. And there's the swarming Seattle defense. They take it away more than any other team in the league. Here's Loyd. Clark inside Natasha. She's got to get some touches here to get the Storm back in this game. Goes up with the jump hook. That's exactly what you got to do. They keep doing that the next 4 minutes, and they're going to be right in this game and out.
And that was the spacing that Dan Hughes has been looking for. The double team can't get to Natasha Howard quickly enough with where the players were positioned, and Natasha got to go one-on-one against the smaller Dupree.
Dupree trying to do the same thing on Natasha. Backing in. Double shows. And Dupree misses a one-handed rebound and tip, but the question is, what was she doing with the off-arm?
Well, her bench absolutely loving it. Putting muscles off. McCowan, the rookie right now, 16 points and 9 boards. She's going to get a double-double before halftime.
Well, I mentioned last week her career high at 24, so she's playing her best basketball of her entire career right now. And she might surpass that 24 tonight and get a new career high. She only needs 8 more to tie it.
Well, and her career high in rebounds is 16, so she is on pace as we stand right now. Career high in both points and boards.
I don't know about that off arm. There was a lot of pushing on Mercedes Russell's head with that off arm by McCowan. It was a great athletic play and great dexterity, but I'm not sure she didn't commit a foul there. And turnover on Seattle. 3:30 left in the first half. Wheeler uses the big pick from Dupree. Keeps the dribble, now feeds McCowan. Little quick, and you see McCowan say, throw it up. I'm a big. Don't throw bigs bullet passes at waist level. Float them up to the rim for me.
Well, especially when it's going to go through traffic. So she's got to have her eyes set, and there's just so many bodies right there in Natasha Howard's hands.
Canada to Jewell. Good post position by Mercedes Russell. Now she comes up to get it on the elbow. 7 on the shot clock for Clark. Clark looking for her first triple of the game. This is off the back iron. And it's Indiana ball. Shot selection, Elise, last few minutes.
It's been quick, and they haven't moved the ball side to side to get that defense to shift.
Mitchell going in on Russell, who impedes her progress. 10 on the shot clock. Now McCowan, double team, kicking it to Dupree and scores. You're right, Indiana bench is loving it right over there.
McCowan right now is playing like an MVP. She's destroying Seattle's defense inside. This is one of the best defensive teams in the league, and she's playing around right now. This was the absolute right read on the double team. Everything right now is centered around McCowan. She just turns, flips it over to Dupree. That's the second time she's made the best read possible with the double team.
She's making this game really easy. That's what she's doing. It looks like it's really slow for Tiara McCowan right now, and she is dominating this basketball game. Timeout on the floor. Hey fans, the Storm app presented by Angel of the Winds Casino Resort. Your go-to place for Storm stats, rosters, and standings. You can even play an interactive player pick game or game day scratchers and win a one-night stay and $50 towards restaurants at the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort and more. You can find it on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store by searching Seattle Storm. Elise, Seattle's last lead was 14-12. Since then, it's 21-8 Indiana and 14 by by Tierra McCowan.
To go along with 9 boards, and her total now is 16 and 9. And you see right here, Seattle has to take advantage of her outside, get her out of the lane on high pick and rolls, make her use quickness instead of power.
Howard can't put it back up, running out of time, as Mercedes Russell could not get rim on that left-handed jump hook. And right now, Dan Hughes got to do some soul searching at halftime with his basketball team and some X's and O's adjustments to get Seattle back into this game.
Yeah, just 22 points in the first 18 minutes of this game. And Seattle is still in it because of their defense, only allowing 33, but they have got to push tempo and get some easy buckets, and they'd love to do it before halftime.
Wheeler crossover move, loses Canada, and we have an offensive foul.
I don't think so.
Was that a and one? Was that a punch for the offensive foul or a punch for the and one?
Confusing call by him.
Yeah. Offensive foul.
There we go.
Sometimes those calls can be really similar. You know, when you emphasize the and one. Exactly. Third foul on Wheeler, so she's going to have to sit. Mitchell comes back in.
And you read the players as well, and they were all standing instead of heading the other direction. Jordan Canada taking one for the team literally there off the head, and the turnover is exactly what Seattle needed. They have to put together a little run here, get some momentum on their home floor before halftime, and let this stellar crowd on a Sunday afternoon feel good about something.
A really good crowd here today. Here's the runner by Lloyd. No good. Just a lot of tough shots in the second quarter particularly.
Yeah, Jewel Lloyd hasn't got going. 0 of 5 from the floor, just 2 free throws.
That's McCowan's 10th board.
Double.
In the first half. Dupree inside to McCowan. Too big and strong for everybody, but she misses that one. Laney now. Kelsey Mitchell, 6 on the shot clock. Not a buck left in this half. Into Dupree, turnaround jump shot, no. And the foul's going to go on McCowan, knocking Alicia Clark down.
No, this is a 40-minute game, and even though Tierra McCowan is 7 of 9 from the field, she's got to continue to play. Ooh, yeah, you see there, the right arm.
And she kind of
getting extended and sending Clark to the deck.
You know, looking at it again, and I was right the first time. Alicia was not happy that Tierra McCowan didn't at least, hey, if you're going to stare me down, at least help me up. And the rookie stood the veteran up and just walked by, and Alicia Clark did not like that.
Well, I will say one thing. When you're a rookie, you are constantly getting leaned on, pushed on, poked, prodded. You're a rookie, and you're not going to get very many calls. And so for Tierra McCowan, there's a point when you have to say, you know what?
Yeah.
I am tough. I'm tougher than you. I'm tough as you, whatever it is. And especially as a big, you got to lay a little intimidation factor out there. And I'm sure for her, she's like, I'm not helping up a guard on the other team. I'm supposed to be intimidating.
Canada knocks them both in. Boy, Seattle needed those, and they need a stop and a bucket to just get within arm's reach of this Indiana team, who is playing much, much better today than their record indicates, and much better than they've played recently. 2 of the last 3 losses for Indiana have been absolute blowouts. Here's Mitchell. No. McCowan, the rebound. Back up. No. Mercedes has 9-second differential on game and shot. Canada tries to force the issue, putting it off the back iron, can't get it to go, but she'll go to the free throw line. I mean, you know, sports are funny. You never really know what you're going to get. You come into a game like this where Seattle's coming off a win and an entire week off to practice with Dan Hughes. Meanwhile, Indiana has played 2 of their last 3 on the road. They've been traveling all over the place. They lose by 39 at Washington on the 18th, just a week ago. Then they lose 3 nights ago by 27 at LA. And yet they come in here and, at least for one half of basketball, are looking like the better basketball team. But as Elise intimated, Seattle's defense and the pace of this game is keeping them in it. It's only a 7-point game. It feels like Seattle should be down by 18 right now. Seattle can get a stop here. They may get a couple of seconds to cross the timeline and get a look up. Depends on how quick Indiana shoots. If Indiana's smart, they'll take it down to 1. They do take it to 2. No good there. 4 seconds left. Got to get going. Got to get going. Jules got it. Throws it up at the buzzer. Oh, Natasha Howard just held that ball for 2 seconds. I think maybe she thought the shot clock buzzer was the game buzzer. And then she realized, wait a second, the clock is still moving. I got to go. But Seattle had Jewel Lloyd running out. They had an opportunity for a good look there. And they just couldn't execute. All right, we'll see what Coach Hughes has to say. This has not been the type of half he likes, but here's Elise with Coach.
Well, Coach, I don't think it's a surprise. You told me before the game Sierra McCowan is coming on, and the rookie already with a double-double. How do you clean things up defensively and disrupt her?
Well, in a couple cases, we're allowing her position on the floor. Well, we're going to lose. I mean, she has that kind of presence. So we got to be able to defend her earlier. We got to make sure our blockouts give us space to release and rebound. And we've just got to focus on not letting her get position, because right now she's a factor in this game, big time.
I also think she's a factor on the other end, and you have to try to get her out of the paint somehow, some way. Get some easy shots. How do you do that?
Well, we're turning down. We're running offense and screening well enough to get catch and shoots. And we got to have a balance to what we're doing, and I think if we would screen better, and I think we would set up. Right now, they're making us catch the ball in places they want. We got to catch the ball in places we want, and I think screening's the vehicle to do that.
All right, I appreciate your time, Coach. Good luck in the second half. We'll send it back over to you, Dick.
Thanks, Elise. Yeah, frustrated Dan Hughes right now, and rightfully so. His team is shooting 24% from the field. Meanwhile, Sierra McCowan has got as many field goals as Seattle does in this game. 7. Wow.
Halftime is presented by Symetra, the official life insurance partner of the Seattle store. Brought to you in part by Swedish, the official medical care team of the Seattle store. Health for good. Supported by Carter Subaru, planning a forest one test drive at a time. In Shoreline, Ballard, and at CarterSubaru.com. And Kaiser Permanente, presenting sponsor of Storm Fit Night.
And welcome back, halftime. We're getting set for third quarter action, and the Seattle Storm have some adjustments to make. No question about it. They trail 33-26, and at least take a look at the Symetra halftime stats. The field goal percentage made a 21% differential there, even though the Fever haven't hit one three-pointer all game long, and not really many free throws either. But it's those points in the paint, specifically from Sierra McCowan and her 16 and 11 rebounds. They're just killing Seattle right now.
Well, normally a coach wants balance. 0 3-point makes for Indiana, but 22 points in the paint. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're getting it down to McCowan, and she is doing work. She has been unstoppable in this game. On pace right now for 32 points and 22 boards.
Well,
halftime sitting with 16 and 11, and the Storm need an answer.
There's not a lot of guarantees in life, but I'll guarantee you one thing. If Sierra McCowan plays the second half and has as many field goals as the Seattle Storm team like she does right now, 7-7, Seattle ain't winning this game, that's for sure.
Well, right away, they come out and move the basketball, though.
There it is. There it is, Dan Hughes, hands above the head, applauding his team after that three-point shot. He said, that's exactly what I drew up.
That might be the best possession of the game, and it comes right out of intermission. They just were holding on to the basketball too long, and as he said in his halftime interview, they have to screen better. This time, it's just moving around the horn, make the defense react, and they cannot get out in time to Alicia Clark. And to be fair, the Storm also had some shots that were all the way in that popped out, and those are momentum killers.
It was amazing. Seattle's been outplayed, completely outplayed since the first about 3 minutes of the game. They're down 4. I mean, this is a ball game.
Well, it's because their defense will always hold them in games.
Dupree going up against the shot blocker herself. Oh, maybe hands down at the 45-degree angle. Probably got Natasha on that one.
Well, she was set, but you have to be up and down straight, and I agree with you. I think her arms probably came down. Dupree forcing that contact like a true veteran does.
Only one foul on Natasha, though, so that is very good news, because Natasha, as aggressive as she plays, she has a tendency to rack up 3 and 4 fouls by the end of the third quarter, so it's good that she only has one right now.
And that was a true veteran move by Dupree. Just saw that Howard had her arms over her. She was trying to gather and got into the arms, and when they're in that position, that is Howard's foul. It's a good call.
Candice Dupree, she and Cappie Pondexter are the only players ever to score over 1,000 points with 3 different teams. She's done it with Chicago, Indiana, and Phoenix. Got some shot clock difficulties here. And entering the game, 2,588 two-point makes. She now has 2,592 two-point makes. That is the most ever in the history of the WNBA. Just an amazing 14-year career for Candice Dupree.
And she's just the type of player that you look at the box score and you're like, what did she end up with?
Yeah.
She's just so smooth. Not a lot of flash, but just glides, and her baseline jumper, her mid-range game, her and Simone Augustus just are automatic from that mid-range game,
12
the
to
jump
18
shot.
feet. Yeah, exactly. And 10 points for Candice Dupree on 4 of 9. 6-point game. Jewel's got to get going offensively.
Jewel yet to have a bucket.
Seattle's guards have done almost nothing offensively today. Canada 0 for 0, 0 for 1 now from the field, 6 points. Jewel 0 for 5. So your starting guards have no field goals.
It's great to see Kennedy Burke on the other side, back on the floor after a hard fall.
Oh my goodness! Wow, Mike Price! Oh! Sierra McCowan just stumbles backwards, throws it up, and a late whistle. Wow!
You can see Mercedes Russell getting stuck from behind, just trying to make sure that she's not...
She's trying to get out of the way.
She's watching out for flying objects is what she's doing, putting her hand up. You can hear the crowd whistling and booing. They do not like the call, but McCowan says, I'm knocking down the free throw. Well, this is 2 calls in a row that have been 2 that, let's say, sometimes you'd let those go.
Yes, I'd say so.
Natasha Howard with her arms not exactly straight up, and then Mercedes Russell just kind of turned around, not even looking at McCowan as she put the ball up.
See how Seattle reacts. They're down 8 now. It's just 4 a moment ago. Alicia hit 1-3. Doesn't take this one. Flips it up with the left hand. Badly missed.
That was good defense by Dupree. Close out to Clark. She couldn't get the 3 off, and then was able to slide with her to force a tough shot.
Dupree backing in. Double comes. Over to Mitchell. Crossover on Lloyd. Here's Wheeler. A lot of green shirts in there. 5 on the shot clock. Great D by Seattle. Canada gets her arms in there. And a jump ball just before Wheeler throws it up in the air. Now, even if Seattle doesn't win this jump, Indiana would have to catch and shoot with 2 on the shot clock.
And this is the double team and the presence that they need. Wheeler undersized, Mercedes Russell just putting her arms up, getting big, and Canada able to close out. Wheeler had nowhere to go. I love this. Get the 2 guards jumping it.
Yeah, they didn't get to jump very much.
How many jump balls has Canada had in her career? This may be her first. I mean, think about
I remember. No, she's got active hands. I remember
she can't
her.
have very many.
No, but she gets tie-ups every now and then. I want to say she's done it a couple times. I could be wrong. And a missed bunny there as Indiana did everything they possibly could do to get a shot up before the shot clock violation. Howard has it. Crossover move on Dupree. Feeds Mercedes Russell up and in. Get in there. She deserved that roll. She's had a couple roll in and out tonight.
Well, that was a beautiful finish by Russell. The athleticism at 6'6" to kind of hang in the air and flip it over her head. Candice Dupree has done a really good job against Natasha Howard. She has quieted her. Just 10 points for Howard.
Dupree, there's that mid-range. This time she misses. And McCowan a push-off there as Mercedes Russell gets the rebound with one hand. And McCowan having a conversation with the officials. This is fun to watch. Mercedes Russell against McCowan on both ends of the floor right now. Very, very entertaining to watch.
The second-year player out of Tennessee and the rookie out of Mississippi State. Former SEC opponents getting after it here on the West Coast.
Canada thinking about it. Now gives it up to Clark. Natasha pokes it back out. Good look by Clark. That one doesn't go. McCowan yet another board, number 12. She has got 18 and 12 on the game. Dupree. McCowan, nice job by Canada, poking it through. It's a 4-on-3 the other way. Canada gets tripped up. There's the call. I was waiting for that call. And it'll be Seattle basketball underneath. 6:50 left to go in the third quarter.
And this is the quick double team that you need. Jordan Canada so quick with those hands, just reaching in, poking it away, and then running the floor and earning a possession for her team. Hitting the deck.
That's the fourth foul on Erica Wheeler, so she is going to have to sit down. And what are they reviewing?
I mean, maybe if it's an intentional trip.
Clear path possible. I don't think I saw that. But
a clear path, they have to be well in front of you.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get any. That's going to be a
Wheeler was going for the ball. It was just...
Seattle getting some steals now. They have, coming into this game, 23 more steals than any other team in the WNBA. So not only are they number one, they are number one by a wide margin. And they've got already in this game 7. So adding to that, as Wheeler, it really looked kind of a tangled up defeat there.
It was complete incidental contact, and it's almost one that you feel lucky if you're a Seattle Storm fan that it was called because it wasn't intentional and they were running. It was clearly, she caused Jordan Canada to go to the floor. You see her just clip it right here, the back of her foot, and Canada goes to the deck as she loses her body control, but Wheeler's just going for the pause. Not a clear path. Proper call was made.
Seattle basketball now trying to cut it to 6 or maybe even, trying to cut it to 4. It's at 6 right now. Here's Jewell with it. Baseline, no good. Tipped around. And out of the pack comes Kennedy Burke. Gets UCLA on UCLA. And Jordan Canada fouls her old teammate, at least according to the official, Carlene Tilden.
Those two were the heart and soul, along with Monique Billings, who is playing with Atlanta now for UCLA and some of their fabulous teams. Jordan Canada says, "What's contact?"
Phantom.
That's the second anticipation call in transition. And the crowd doesn't like it, and Dan Hughes doesn't like it, and you understand why, because the referees anticipated the contact. But you have to give Indiana credit because they are getting out and they are running, and for officials, it's a very difficult spot. They have to run full speed ahead, and these athletes are so fast and so quick, they have to anticipate things sometime. Right here, they're looking at here, Jordan Canada with the arm. They say, did she hit her elbow? It's hard to tell. But for Kennedy Burke, the more times you're out ahead of the defense, the more times you're going to get that call. Right or wrong, you're going to earn that call.
So some breaks going against Seattle here in the third quarter. They're down by 8 points right now. Boyd with it. Natasha Howard steps into one. A little long off the back iron. Good job by both Russell and Clark keeping that alive for the Storm. Alicia backing in.
Another tough shot. Burke, 6'5", those long arms.
Mitchell gets a seam, the big 1-2, and lays it up easily. Back to a double-digit lead for Indiana.
Straight line drive, splitting the defense. That looked way too easy.
Canada now. Russell calling over Natasha Howard.
Not a lot of player movement here.
No. Here's Howard going to flip one up from 15. Rolls in and out. Bottom dribble right now for Mitchell. Natasha on the switch now. 7 on the shot clock. Crowd making some noise.
In the paint.
Step back, long distance jump shot. No. Jewell trying to push it up, but she sees a lot of yellow shirts ahead of her.
Well, the Storm defense says, thank you very much. McCowan, no touches on that possession.
Oh, the step through by Canada. Can't get it to go. My goodness, how many bunnies have they missed today?
You can hear the crowd groan. Seattle still stuck on 31 points. Midway through the third quarter.
Burke right in. And Mercedes Russell, no call there. Over the top. Alicia Clark tipped away by Mitchell to be Seattle underneath. They need to get a good shot on this inbounds. And they're going to have some time to talk about it. 4:47 left to go in the third quarter. Sammy Whitcomb's going to come in, but not before we have a break. Seattle needs some work from their guards. Lloyd, Canada, Whitcomb, and Zealous are 0 for 11. Back after this. In support of WNBA Breast Health Awareness, you can visit WNBA.com/assessrisk and put awareness into action to reduce your risk of breast and ovarian cancer. That's WNBA.com/assessrisk. Dick Payne, Elise Woodward with you here. 41-31. Our score, Seattle down 10. They just got a fired up Steve Ballmer during that timeout on the video board to try to get him going. We all know what a fired up Steve Ballmer looks like. Let's see if the team can get going here.
Well, Indiana has played a solid game on both ends of the floor, and they have outplayed Seattle. 10-point lead. They have lost to Seattle 5 games in a row, and McCowan now 20 points and 14 boards.
She has been unstoppable. Seattle's going to have to keep getting those doubles, but they can't double if she gets the ball 3 feet from the basket. And here's a turnover. Laney's coming the other way with it. Here's Laney inside. Kick out Dupree against Canada. The step through. Hook shot. No. This is creeping away from Seattle. They got to get this down to...
Well, they got to start scoring basketball. They just cannot find a way to get anything going. Ball movement, player movement. Dan Hughes talked at halftime about screens.
Whitcomb badly missed.
And for Seattle this season, they've already earned that playoff spot. They're trying to push up to that 4 spot so they can avoid one of the single elimination playoff games, but they're a team this season, when they've struggled, it has been because their offense has gone in droughts, and they are in a drought. They started off with 10 points and a 10-2 lead and cruised out, but their offense just has been missing so far in this game against Indiana.
We've seen that a couple times this year where Seattle jumped out to an early lead here at home and then just absolutely couldn't put any points on the board and ended up losing the game. And a little too easy, too early sometimes in those situations where you think, hey, man, it's 10-2. This team's 9-19. We're going to cruise with this game. And then all of a sudden, just a monstrous performance by Tierra McGowan, and you're in a hole by 12.
Well, they're shooting 22% in this game. Jewel Lloyd is 0 for 6. Canada 0 for 2.
Whitcomb's got to hit that, man.
Whitcomb is now 0 for 5. So the guards in this one just have been ice cold from deep.
They don't have a field goal, Elise. Nope. 4 guards, no field goals. Whitcomb's got it. See if she can hit one off balance. Oh, no good. Mercedes Russell working on McGowan, using the rim as a protector. Nicely done there by Mercedes Russell.
So creative for Mercedes Russell, trying to find a way to power through the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, McCowan. SEC, of course, rookie in the WNBA, and she finds a way.
Long 3, no. Dupree offensive rebound. You're right about this crowd. This crowd is just, all they need is a couple of stops. They want to go nuts here today. This is a really good Sunday crowd. Free ball. That's a dagger right there. My goodness, Kennedy Burke. First 3 of the game for Indiana. It couldn't have come at a better time for the Fever.
And he was going to Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, seeing if he can get some offense, somebody to knock down the free ball.
Canada. Ooh, just erased by McGowan. Did they call a foul there on body? Because there was definitely body contact, too.
Oh, my goodness.
But the body contact was not by McGowan. So no foul. 7 on the shot clock. Mosqueda-Lewis, catch and shoot. Nothing going down for Seattle. 10 of 45 from the field.
just 3 made threes on 16 attempts. It has been rough to find anybody that can fill it up today.
They got to turn Indiana over and get some easy buckets. Get this crowd back into it. If it gets much deeper than this, they're not going to come back. Laney spinning. Dupree at the shot clock buzzer. They say a little too late.
Now, there's 1:31 to go in the third period, and you're absolutely right. It's not just that they're looking at a 13-point hole. It's the type of game where this is such a low-scoring affair. 13 points in a high-scoring game of, if you're 60 to 70 right now, or 60 to 73 rather, you say, okay, you can go on a run. There's been very few quick 8-0 runs in this game. It's been grinding out.
The 10-2 run at the beginning of the game for Seattle, that was it. They can go on another one of those, we got ourselves a ball game. They did that in like 3 minutes. Howard, Mosqueda Lewis, this has got to go down, and it does. 46-36, will the lid come off the Seattle basket with that shot?
The crowd making some noise, trying to push this team with some energy.
Laney, long three by Mitchell, answered, wow! All of a sudden, Indiana, who does not shoot threes very often, knocks down their only 2 threes of the game in back-to-back possessions, or actually in 2 out of 3 possessions. Whitcomb spinning it up, and the lid is off. Starting to go down. Back to 10. Now can you get a stop here and another bucket to cut it to 7 or 8 at the end of the quarter? Mitchell flings it and hits it. Woo-wee! Now all of a sudden both teams are knocking them down.
And lefty step back jumper on a dime.
She's had some nasty moves.
Yes, she has. That's unstoppable right there. What are you going to do?
Canada against Mitchell. Using her quickness. Good D by Mitchell, though. Canada just loses it. 8 seconds left. Still plenty of time for Indiana. Maybe a carry, but no call there. Dupree, 3 at the buzzer. No, that was a life-saving miss for Seattle. It would have been a 15-point game. Seattle trying to show some signs of life from behind the arc, and they continue in the fourth.
Seattle Storm basketball, presented by Swedish, the official medical care team of the Seattle Storm. Health for good. Supported in part by Carter Subaru, planning a forest one test drive at a time. In Shoreline, Ballard, and at CarterSubaru.com. BECU, the official credit union of the Seattle Storm. And Kaiser Permanente, presenting sponsor of Storm Fit Night.
Hey fans, join the conversation. Engage with the Seattle Storm on Twitter and Instagram, and like the Seattle Storm on Facebook. Get the inside scoop on Storm basketball news, promos, and contests all season long. All right, 10 minutes left, Elise. Can Seattle feed on what they got from Kalina and Sammy at the end of that third quarter?
Well, Dan Hughes going to the bench trying to get some energy, and he gets back-to-back 3-point buckets from his substitutes, and those are the kind of buckets that will jumpstart this team. Obviously, you'd rather have 3 than 2 right now when you're looking at a big deficit, but he needs that energy and that spark.
Now, the problem is they didn't get a stop in between those. So as far as back-to-back goes, is Indiana can't get it to go there with Laney and rebound by Langhorne. Seattle does not have back-to-back field goals since 6:53 left in the first quarter when it was 10-2. That's the last time Seattle scored back-to-back buckets. See if they can do it. Howard misses. Oh, my goodness, but she tips it back to Zealous.
Candice Dupree, even though she's given up a couple of inches to Natasha Howard, she has really been tough.
Feed inside. Langhorne double team, trying to fight through. Ball knocked free off Langhorne's head. And that'll be a shot clock violation. Or will they just say Indiana has the ball? Indiana might have just recovered the ball before the shot clock went to 0.
And you look at how quick that double team got over to Langhorne. Didn't allow her to squeeze the shot off before that violation. Indiana has really brought it out here on the road. They have lost 5 straight times to Seattle. And already 2 losses this season And they don't want to get swept, clearly, by the way they're playing.
Laney with it. High post, Dupree. This is where she likes it. Off the back iron. All right, Seattle's getting some misses forced. They've got to score on the other end. They can get it to single digits here with a 3. Whitcomb to Langhorne. You just got a feeling that this is still going to be a game, but not shooting like that.
Yeah, another tough shot. A tough shot you can quantify. Hand in your face. Are they close enough to touch? Are you on the dribble? All these different factors. Seattle's had so many tough shots today. Way too many tough shots.
Showing one. Giving out to Mitchell. 1 on the shot clock. Off balance. No offensive rebound.
And that's with no McCowan on the floor.
Yeah, they're letting McCowan rest right now. Jonah in trouble. 4 on the shot clock. Good defense by Seattle, forcing the turnover. The defense has been great the first couple minutes of this fourth quarter. They need shots to fall on the other end. See if they can get it to 6 by the 5-minute mark. That'd be a good goal. Chop 6 points off this lead in 3 minutes. It's doable. Whistle on Laney. That's her first. Mosqueda Lewis is going to inbounds. Mosqueda Lewis, good look. Back iron. Mitchell clears aside. Gets the screen but doesn't use it. Throws it way into the backcourt. Saved by Laney. Laney travels. But I'll take the fast break the other way instead of the traveling violation. Here's Langhorne on the strong hand. Lays it up and in. That's what they need. Turnovers leading to buckets.
It feels like one of the few times Seattle's been able to get a steal and get a bucket immediately following. And now this crowd is getting loud.
And they get back-to-back buckets. Whitcomb tips it over. Just to the wrong color. But there's the miss.
Natasha Howard
gets it tipped away. It'll be Seattle basketball.
Natasha Howard, the only starter on the floor right now for Seattle. So the bench is coming on and providing that spark that Dan Hughes is looking for.
That's a great feed by Natasha Howard.
Well,
they're giving it to Indiana, Elise. Wow.
Natasha Howard, 10.7 boards and 4 assists in the game. And if you want to know why Seattle is struggling, they only have 7 assists total in this game. And their post player is leading them with 4. Jordan Canada, who's usually so good at distributing, just 2 assists today on the game. And
well, we only have 13 field goals. That's just
hard to rack up a lot of assists.
That's right. 13 of 51. See if they can get another stop. Triple teamed inside, and Whitcomb comes up with it. That's got to be a foul. Nope, they knock it off her. It'll be Seattle basketball. All right, see what Dan Hughes has just yelled out some instructions on a play call for this possession.
And Tiara McCowan coming back on the floor now. Coach Chapman says the momentum is shifting over to Seattle. And now Dan Hughes will have to adjust again with her back on the floor. Seattle's going a little bit of a run.
Seattle's worst shooting game was against Las Vegas, 27.8%. Right now they are under that, but they do get a bucket there. They're at 25% at 13 of 52. McCowan back in, as Elise mentioned. 6:12 left, and oh man, where was the D there? What happened?
High screen, no help came, and Kelsey Mitchell, it's happened a couple of times today, where partying of the seas and just a straight line drive after a high screen.
Whitcomb back to Langhorne. She can shoot these now. Back iron. Boy, that would cut it to 7. Breeze got a nice steal by Mosqueda Lewis. Zealous has it. She's got Kalina on the wing. Thinks about it. Drives in. Bodies. And an offensive foul. Is that what the call was? Indeed it was. That sums up the night for the Seattle Storm. Right there. 53-43. See if we'll go to timeout or not. Yes, we will. The Doppler train. Seattle Children's a proud sponsor of the Doppler train. It's a Seattle Storm tradition. Seattle Children's mission to provide hope, care, and cures to help every child live the healthiest and most fulfilling life possible. All the kids having a great time down there with Doppler. Let's see if the rest of this fan base can have a great time over the last 5:40. It is not over. They've been getting stops in the fourth quarter. They just have not been consistently getting buckets. The Fever only have 2 points in the first 4.5 minutes of this quarter, but Seattle only has 4.
Normally that's the type of game Seattle likes. Defensive, low scoring.
McCowan, high arcing shot off the window. Mosqueda Lewis.
And that was good defense by Seattle. McCowan is so overpowering. If she gets the ball on the box or in the paint, she's going to score it. But if you push her out, that's the next part of her game she has to work on is 8 feet to 10 feet. She's hit some of those today. She's got 20 points, 15 boards. She has been dominant. But the further you push her out, the more her shot percentage is going to go down.
Second team foul on Indiana in the quarter, so Seattle not close to the bonus yet. McCowan has her third foul. Won't be an issue unless she picks up the fourth here quickly. Over the top, Natasha. Pump fakes. Nice move. Driving. Feeds. Langhorn. Scoop it up and in. All right. Single digits now.
A beautiful ball fake. They got Natasha Howard in some space with the skip pass, and even as good a defender as Dupree is, could not handle Howard one-on-one.
I don't think you start sweating if you're Indiana until it gets to a 2-possession game. So Seattle needs a stop and a bucket to get it to a 2-possession game. Tough shot from 15, but they get the roll. Man, and they've gotten some of those tonight, and Seattle has not.
That was a crusher.
Clark has it. Working on the much smaller Wheeler, who's in foul trouble. Kick it back, Howard. Pump fake, traveling violation. We've seen Natasha on those catch and drives. Sometimes she has a tendency to pick up that pivot foot before the ball hits the floor.
I think she's a player that is just so fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's too fast for her own good.
It's true.
She's taken 3 steps before most people can even take 1.
Wheeler over the top, flip pass to Dupree. She'll attack. Tough shot again. McCowan tries to keep it alive, can't do it. So again, Seattle has it with a chance to get it to single digits. Clock not a huge factor yet, but it will be in about a minute or so. Mosqueda Lewis knocks down the tougher shot. She passed up the square shoulder shot, and she took a dribble and hit the 15-footer.
And she was open because of a couple of good screens set by her teammates.
Seattle has not yet been able to get it to a 2-possession game. I think when that happens, then things really start getting interesting. Here's Laney. 16-footer from Laney. No. Offensive rebound, McCowan. Flings it back up top. A new 14.
16 boards from McCowan. She's working on a 20-20.
That equals her career high, and better yet for Indiana is she just gives them 2 points with that offensive rebound because Mitchell was able to take advantage of the extra possession. Back to 10. Howard to Clark. Good move. Oh, the extra pass from Kalina Mosqueda Lewis to Howard is errant. Indiana's going to take a timeout and talk about it. 3:03 left. Now the clock is a factor. 57-47 our score. Minor miracle Seattle needs right now. Hey fans, join us on Tuesday, August 27th at 7 o'clock to watch your Storm take on the Connecticut Sun right here on Gardner Subaru Court at Alaska Airlines Arena in Seattle. Connecticut tonight losing to LA by a final of 84-72. Nneka Ogwumike 16 points and 8 rebounds. So Connecticut coming off a loss will be here on Tuesday. Speaking of Connecticut, she knows a little something about Connecticut. Boy, they could use Sue tonight shooting the basketball. How about the guards tonight? Lloyd, Canada, Sammy, Mosqueda, Lewis, and Zealous are 3 of 25 on the game. Mitchell Lewis. Now Wheeler. Inside, McGowan misses. Tipped around, and it will be whose basketball? Seattle basketball. One official turned to another. It was Randy Richardson who turned to Mike Price, who finally turned to Carlina Tobin and said Seattle basketball. Canada's got nobody defending her. She can attack. She tries. Gives it back to Howard. Minnesota has defeated Vegas easily, 98-77. Canada comes in and is tripped, and she should get 2. Unless they say it's on the floor, but it's like she was going in to try to flip a shot up.
I don't know how many times Jordan Canada's hit the deck this season.
A lot.
But it feels like, at 5'6", she gets in the lane, and to avoid players that sometimes are a foot or more taller than her, she's got to contort and use that body control. And a lot of times she ends up on the deck.
Big free throws here. She knocks that one down to get it to a 9-point game. Rest of your finals tonight. Washington beat New York 101-72, which clinched a playoff spot for Seattle. No good there. Atlanta over Dallas 77-73. And Chicago took out Phoenix 94-86.
I just think in this game, it's just really difficult. Jordan Canada and another bucket by McCowan is up to 22. Jordan Canada and Jewel Lloyd still have yet to score a field goal in this game. And
Lloyd has just kind of been coming into her own recently.
She had back-to-back double-figure games after that significant ankle injury. And
nice Langhorne right to the cup. That was a good move. All right, need a stop and a 3 to make it a 2-possession game. But the clock very much beginning to be a factor here at 1:49. And there's the steal that you need from Natasha Howard. 3-on-2 the other way. Lloyd attacking, gives it up to Clark. Retraces her steps, lays up a tough one. Natasha Howard over the top. And ooh, that's an elbow right there. That is an elbow on McGowan right there. What are they going to call? Are they going to call it on Seattle? They're going to call it on Howard. Wow. Boy, oh boy. Seattle has really not gotten the benefit of the calls tonight. I mean, is that not reviewable?
Right here is what the initial foul was. The initial foul is on Natasha Howard. She's over the back. Right here, over the back. And then McCowan takes her hand off the ball, which is something that could be reviewable, except for she never connected.
1:18 left. Dupree. Canada behind Dupree, trying to knock it free. Now Wheeler throws it up. No, McCowan the offensive rebound. Keep it there. And a new 14 for Indiana.
Dan Hughes pleading his case. You want to talk about toughness? Dan Hughes, we already know, battled cancer and had to miss the first portion of the season. They had a week off between games. He got cataract surgery this week. Had to have eye surgery because I'm feeling a lot better. Man.
Might as well get it all done at the same time, right?
But he said, I did not want to miss any time. I didn't want to have my players worry at all. I'm fine. He had the surgery on Thursday. Went to practice and then went directly to get his IV to have surgery to get his cataracts removed.
Wheeler.
Trooper.
No good. That would have ended things. Seattle needs a 3. Canada with it. Attacking. Here's Crystal. It's got a good look at a 3-ball. No good.
Yeah, they needed that one to go. It's just been that kind of a shooting night.
17 of 61 are the Seattle Storm tonight from the field. And 5 of 22 from three-point range. Here comes Natasha the other way. Going to be too little too late as she steps in and gets fouled. Top rebounding games in the WNBA this season. Jonquel Jones with 22 for Connecticut against the Sparks. And 18 for McGowan tonight. This is the second best rebounding performance of anybody in the WNBA this year.
Yeah, McGowan was the key for Indiana in a low-scoring, grinded-out style of game. 59-51. And as you can see for Seattle, as they look forward, only 5 games remain in this season, 2 more at home, and they have to hit the road for the final 3 games of the season. So as they try to look up and climb up to the 4th spot, they're letting a precious opportunity at home against Indiana slip through their fingers. This is one they came in as a favorite, no question about it, and they just could not score consistently enough.
This is the type of games you need to win the playoffs, these 50s games and 60s games. Come back with the final 17.5 next. Welcome back. Final 17.5 left in this one, and it looks like the Indiana Fever are going to pick up their 10th win of the season, and an impressive win at that. They came in the last time when they played Seattle here. They were 5-5 on the season, and everything started looking like, okay, maybe Indiana's got a shot at a playoff push here. But they were 4-14 since that game coming into today. But they tonight were clearly the better team on the floor. And while Seattle played pretty good defense, they were not able to corral the big woman in the middle. And that's Tierra McCowan, who just did it whatever she wanted. 22 and 18 on 9 of 15 shooting. Her career high in rebounds, 2 off of her career high in points. And meanwhile, offensively for Seattle, they're going to end up with their season low.
52 points in a 40-minute game. The part about McCowan's game that really is so impressive is when you talk about the percentages. She's got 22 of the 61 points, and she's got 18 of the 41 rebounds.
Wow.
I mean, without her on the floor, she took up the bulk of the production for Indiana.
What was the situation, do you think, with Jewell Loyd tonight? Because it's not like she just didn't get a lot of good looks, good shot opportunities. They just really didn't get her involved in the offense.
I felt like the ball was sticky today for Seattle. That when they moved the ball quickly, the first possession of the third quarter, they had proper spacing. They moved the ball, boom, boom, boom. They got a wide open 3 in the baseline corner from Alicia Clark, and that's what Seattle likes to do. It just felt like Seattle was a step slow today, which is ironic. They just had 7 days in between games.
There's Jewell. Her first field goal of the game. And the first field goal by a member of the starting backcourt for Seattle today.
Yeah, it's just one of those games. Sometimes you cannot find it. And 2 steps forward for Jewell Loyd and then 1 step back tonight. Just in trying to come back from that ankle injury, it's not always a straight line to the top.
Hey, fans interested in becoming a new Storm 360 season ticket member in 2020, place a $100 per seat deposit now to get in line for next season. Receive playoff priority on the current 2019 Storm playoff run, which, by the way, now we know will include a playoff game. We don't know if it will include a playoff game here in Seattle yet, but we do know it will include a playoff game. Call 206-217-WNBA. That's 206-217-9622 to place your deposit today. So the foot was on the line. They're going to erase one of those points. Just a 2 for Jewell Loyd tonight. Seattle was looking to sweep the Indiana Fever for the second consecutive season, and it is not going to happen. 8 seconds left as Wheeler is fouled by Jewell Loyd. 3-possession game, probably not necessarily for the foul, but nonetheless, Erica Wheeler will go to the free throw line. With 6.3 left, Wheeler, the All-Star Game MVP. How about that coming out of the blue? 25 points, 7 assists, 7 3-pointers made in the All-Star Game. She was the first undrafted player since 2003 to even make an All-Star Game, and the first one ever to win an All-Star MVP. And we haven't called her name much tonight because those are her first 2 points. And another timeout.
That was a great story for Wheeler, winning the WNBA All-Star MVP. She came in 6 threes in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, what a night for her. And Las Vegas, really good energy there. And, of course, doing it for her mom, who passed away from cancer when she was in college at Rutgers. And to be able to come out of that, one of those stories that you look at that's just really inspirational. Undrafted to the best player on that day, of the best players in the entire world.
Absolutely. I think an unsung hero tonight, we talked all about McGowan, but Kelsey Mitchell came off the bench and had a plus 16 and plus minus. She had 13 points, and she really kind of started that run. It wasn't McGowan early. It was Mitchell early that brought him out of that 10-2 hole.
She had some phenomenal shots today. Tough ones.
Howard at the buzzer, and that will do it. And that will end Seattle shooting at 18 of 63, which is the lowest field goal, second lowest field goal percentage of the year. They still